Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you are here with me. We're going to give it a couple minutes, not as long as a Wednesday night class. On a Wednesday night class, I usually give 5 minutes for people to find us, but I'll give a couple minutes before we begin. Hope that you all are doing well, and we are glad that you have been patient with us. Uh, with North Mission as a whole, and we hope that you have maintained patience with world events and everything that's going on. That's been one of the important things that I think that has come out of this COVID-19 situation is the opportunity to show the world how patient the followers of Christ can be and how we mean it when we say we are looking towards a higher goal, a higher end. Something that I've been trying to be in the habit of doing when I do these live videos is to encourage you to hit a subscribe button on the YouTube link. That way that you can be made aware of anytime a video is made from the North Mission building or one of the people from North Mission. So you have all the up-to-date teachings, devotionals, classes, worship services, whatever might be going on, announcement videos like what we're doing now. Hit that subscribe button, and your phone or computer or whatever you're doing your YouTube on will let you know when a new video is being dropped. So we're going to start here in about 5 seconds with what we're going to talk about today. And this is also going to be on Facebook later. Hey, so as we get started today, I wanted to read Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 17, which says, "Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls, and those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you." This verse has been very important. Well, it's always been important, but hopefully this has been hitting us more these days. Since March 13th, which was the Friday before my kids' spring break, when the COVID really first started rearing its head and people started talking about shutdown, which we would find out that Sunday was actually the last time we were able to worship together. We've been distance worshiping, so to speak, ever since. Places have been quarantined, and we've been trying to do the best that we could do. And during the course of this time, though, North Mission has not been sitting idle, but that the leadership has been meeting weekly. The elders, I know for a fact, have been meeting weekly ever since March. And then the rest of the leaders, including myself and the deacons, have been meeting with the elders a couple of times a month, or whenever they have called us to a meeting at their disposal. And we've been trying to figure out what to do, the best course of action. And the argument has always been, when is the right time to reopen North Mission? And the time has come. On June 28th, the last Sunday in June, we're going to have a live worship. Now, that's going to mean some things, and we're going to go through those today, and we're also going to go through them probably Thursday. We'll do another video at the North Mission building so that we can do kind of a walkthrough of what you can expect to see, and just again a reminder of what we need to be doing. But again, just as a whole, talking about this COVID thing, some people take it very seriously. Other people are not taking it very seriously at all. There are people in the world who honestly believe that if you get COVID, it's an automatic death sentence. It's not. But even though it's not an automatic death sentence, it's still very contagious. And if you are at a higher risk, one of the higher risk groups, then yeah, there's a good chance that you could get something if we're not careful. That's been part of the delay. it wasn't enough for us to just want to reopen North Mission. We wanted to reopen North Mission responsibly and as safely as possible. And the elders, again, have spearheaded a situation that I guarantee you they were not really thinking of when they decided to answer the call to be elders. And they have worked hard and very diligently to try to get us back up and running. And so when we go over what the elders have sent to us, we need to remember what the Bible says about the leadership of elders. Elders should be held in honor, they should be held in esteem. And if we're going to be part of the Lord's body, then we need to take what they say under advisement and be submissive to their teaching, to their instruction, because that's why God blessed us with elders to begin with. So this is something that we need to remember as we go through the next period of time and seeking to open up, is that I can guarantee you the elders are just not trying to flex power. They're not trying to do anything to tie us down or take abuse of power. They're trying to keep people safe, and we're trying to do the responsible course of action. And so we need to remember that as we go through this, that they're not trying to bandwagon, that they're not overly scared of the COVID, but they're just trying to keep people safe. Because again, you have people who think you're going to die, and you have other people who think it doesn't exist at all. Well, the truth, like in so many other phases of life, is somewhere in the middle. But still, regardless if you take it dead serious, like you think it's the second coming of the Black Plague, or else you don't think it's a real danger at all, there are steps that we are taking in order to make sure that people can stay as safe as we can and that we can open responsibly. Because that's the key. We want to open responsibly. There have been too many stories coming out about churches and other organizations opening up very quick in an unsafe way in which they're not taking many steps at all to keep people safe. And next thing you know, a COVID has outbroke and has started catching like wildfire in those particular places. And not only does it look bad or for the people who are going through it, but again, it looks bad for everybody. So we wanted to avoid that situation. So hopefully, I got a printed out copy. The elders sent out an email that I'm going to read to you, and we're going to go through it together. The other day, they sent out an email, and also yesterday, they actually are mailing out the same email, doing everything they possibly can to make sure that everybody has what the elders have decided. And again, if you agree with what people are saying about COVID, or you don't agree with what people have said about COVID, this is what North Mission is going to do. And we hope and we pray that being members, not just of the Lord's family at North Mission, but being members of the kingdom of heaven, being God's people, that again, we lend an ear to what the elders are trying to tell us, and we seek to follow their counsel. Again, that's why God blesses us with elders. So here we go. Brothers and sisters, the elders wish to announce that we will return to the building for Sunday assemblies, beginning with the Sunday morning worship service on June 28th at 10:30 a.m. unless unforeseen circumstances arise. So far as I know, as far as I know, no unforeseen circumstances have arisen as yet. So here we go. Please note the following. No Wednesday classes will be held. No Sunday classes, no Bible hour, and the nursery will be closed. The building will be sanitized, disinfected prior to each worship assembly. Chairs are placed to allow for social distancing during the assembly. Attend assemblies only if you can answer no to all the following questions. During a 14-day period preceding an assembly, have you had close contact with a confirmed case of COVID-19? Are you experiencing a cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, or a sudden recent loss of taste or smell? Do you have now or have you had a fever in the last 48 hours? Have you had vomiting or diarrhea in the last 24 hours? Okay, let's break this down a little bit. First of all, we're opening for Sunday morning worship only at this time. We're not having Sunday morning Bible classes. We're not, and when we have our gathering time, we're not going to have Bible hour. We're not going to have a nursery. So if you are used to sending your kids to Bible hour and you don't think you'll be able to keep up with them, you might want to think about staying at home because Bible hour will not be open. Same thing with the nursery. If you are in the habit of using the nursery during our worship time, that's going to be closed. In fact, I'll try to show you on Thursday when I make the next video. There's actually walls of chairs that are in front of the hallways leading to the nursery Bible hour section of the building. It has blocked off the water fountain, it's blocked off the coffee maker, it's blocked off the nursery, and it's blocked off Bible hour. So nobody's going to be using those for this period of time. So if that is a big deal for you, okay, you might want to stay away for a few more weeks. The building, the sanitize and disinfection of the building will happen. Chairs are going to be placed. Not only are chairs going to be a place to allow for social distancing during the assembly, some volunteers and myself have taken the time to go into the auditorium and remove all the blue chairs that I'm sure we all remember, the blue chairs out of the auditorium, and again, move them into that back hall, move them into that hallway that I was talking about. What we're going to use instead for this beginning point of time is that we're going to use the white folding plastic chairs. With the instruments that we have at this time, the white chairs are easier to sanitize and disinfect. We have some things on order, but as you can imagine, so much disinfecting supplies is on back order. So the white chairs are lower maintenance, easier to clean, and easier to disinfect. So we're going to be using those. And those chairs are going to be spaced throughout the auditorium. We're going to have various numbers of groupings to fit family size. Unless I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, then we need to find out real quick. We went through the roll, and the biggest family unit we could find was a family of 7. I don't think we have any more than that. So there's going to be a few higher groups of chairs with that number, and then there's going to be several 3s and 4s, and there are going to be some 5s and things of that nature, and they're going to be spaced throughout that auditorium. And so keep that in mind as we go through with this. Obviously, if you've been feeling ill lately, don't come. We got nothing to prove. That's something else about this COVID thing. We're not doing this as a means to prove something. We have nothing to prove. There's no point in trying to prove anything. That's pride. That's ego. And that's not what we're about. We are seeking to worship God, which we have been doing, by the way, but we're wanting to seek to worship God, people together, because that's when the edification, the encouragement of the body can also take place, and people are starting to miss each other. That's why we're doing this. It's not about having to prove anything, and it's not about ego. And so if you've been feeling ill, don't feel like you have anything to prove. You don't have anything to prove. Stay home. Let's keep people safe. Let's keep COVID from spreading. The letter continues. It says, after many discussions, which include reviewing CDC and state guidelines, and our prayerful consideration, the elders have adopted the following practices for our assembly times. Everyone is urged and expected to sacrifice personal liberties and abide by these practices out of love and consideration for others. We believe these to be both prudent and reasonable precautions. Now, again, you look at that sentence, everyone is urged and expected to sacrifice personal liberties and abide by these practices out of love and consideration for others. Now, again, we might go through this and you might agree with some of it. You might not agree with some of it. Okay, you know what? You are welcome to your opinion. But what we have to remember is that we've been called to a higher goal. We are seeking to be servants, not only of God, but also to each other. And even though you might not have a deep fear of the COVID-19, other people might. And even if you are not in big danger of catching the COVID-19, other people might. And so we are going to go through this, And don't look at it as a slight on your freedoms or your abilities to do what you want. That's not what this is about. This is our opportunity to sacrifice personal liberties and to do some safe practices out of love and consideration. It's not about, this isn't a time to prove a political point. It's not a time to prove how brave and courageous we are. This is a time to prove how much we love each other. This is a time to prove how submissive we can be to our spiritual leadership. This is an opportunity to show obedience to God by seeking to submit to our spiritual leadership. That's what this is about. And if we're going to open, this is what needs to happen. And I hope and I ask that if you are tempted to come up to North Mission this Sunday and to want to cause a scuttlebutt over, not wearing a mask or not doing some of the things that we're going to be asked to do, please worship for home. And I pray that we may all be prayerful in our motivations for wanting to come up on June 28th, and that we, again, serve one another, serve God, love each other, love God, keep an eye out for each other. That's what this is about. So here we go. We're going to go through what these steps the elders want us to follow. And they're going to be, we're going to be following this until further notice. So how long is this going to be? I cannot tell you at this point. Okay, now, as I read this one, I hope that you can find the humor in it that I did first time I read it, considering we live in the Rio Grande Valley. It says, please plan to arrive at least 15 minutes prior to an assembly start time to allow time to adhere to these steps. Yes, not only are we asking you to be there at 10:30, we're asking you to be there at least 10:15. We are asking a bunch of people from the Rio Grande Valley to be somewhere early. Yes, we are. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, only the east front door will be used for access to and egress from the building. Please do not use the back door. Now, if you're familiar, if you can picture the North Mission building, we have front doors and we have back door. We have one back door. Now, some people in our church family, they like to park in the back parking lot. Okay. CDC guidelines pointed out that for places that are trying to open, you limit the entry points. And that's what we're trying to do at North Mission. Now, the way we're trying to do that at North Mission is to just use the front door, one of the front doors. Now, in case you don't know your cardinal directions, you don't know your east from your west or your north from your south. Okay, if you park in the front parking lot and you're looking directly at the front of the building, the eastmost door is going to be the door that's going to be all the way to your left. Okay, it's going to be the one that has all the paper taped to it. It has the security camera right there, because that is the only one in which, if the building is locked, has a keyhole for you to be able to go into the building. So that's what we consider, those of us who work there, we consider that to be the main door. Okay, that's going to be the only door we want you to go in and we want you to come out. Please don't try to go through the back. Come through that front door. It will help us a great deal. Okay. And as you go in, we're going to sit. It says, be seated on a row at least 6 feet apart, 4 chairs at all times, except members of the same household. Now, the copy that I'm reading from might be a little dated, but the thing is that chairs are going to be set out for you. And what you're going to see when you come into the building is, as you go into that door that we're asking you to go through, there's going to be a table right at the front. It's going to have hand sanitizer, which we're going to ask you to use. It's also going to have masks in case you don't have one. And it's also going to have gloves, which are not mandatory, but if you would like some gloves, they're there. Okay, as you go in further into the auditorium, there's going to be a person manning a station that's going to be handwriting out prayer requests in case anybody has any up-to-date prayer requests for that day that we can pray for later. As you go through the auditorium proper, so to speak, there's going to be a table there that's going to have some communion cups. that you're going to be able to get. There's going to be somebody there. He's going to hand them to you, and then we're going to have some ushers that are going to lead you to seating arrangements that we'll have for you. Okay, so you don't have to worry about counting chairs. You don't have to worry about staying away. The white chairs are going to be in there, and the white chairs are going to be spaced. Okay, everyone over the age of 4 is expected and encouraged to wear a mask while in an assembly. In consideration of and in order to protect others, please remove it only during the communion service. Masks will be available in the foyer if you do not have one. Okay, so again, we're asking people to wear masks throughout the service. That includes the singing, that includes the praying. But they're going to be, in case for some reason you're doing something as part of the worship service, I ask the elders this. For example, when I preach, if you're doing something up on the stage, be it preaching or one of the scripture readings or what have you, you can take your mask off for that, because the chairs are going to be people are going to be far enough away from you that's going to be okay. But if that makes you nervous that I'm going to be preaching without a mask, again, you might think if you want to come up yet. We're asking kids old enough to know better. We threw out 4. Keep the mask on. Only remove it during the communion service. And again, if you don't have one, we have some boxes, so we'll be able to get you one in case you need one. Everyone is expected on entering to use the hand sanitizer available, and the foyer's gloves will also be available for those wanting those. We talked about that. No hugging, handshakes, or back slaps. No punches. Please maintain social distancing when entering, while in the building, and when leaving the building. Okay, again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make the building a safe zone. So what we're asking the people is that when you get to the church building and you go in, that's the area where we need to watch ourselves. We're refraining from hugging, from handshaking, from fist bumping, from all that while we're inside the building. Now, afterwards, when everybody's releasing everything, we'll talk more about that later. You go out into the parking lot, you get outside, please feel free to do what you want to. All we're asking is watch for that while you're inside the building, because again, we're trying to do everything we can in order to keep the building as sanitized and disinfected as possible. So while inside, kind of watch your P's and Q's. When you're outside, you can do what you want, but please just remember that. Parents are expected to ensure that their children are supervised at all times and that they maintain proper social distancing while in the building. Now, I've talked to a few sets of parents, that I don't know if they'll be up there or not, but in case you do have kids and they're coming, as a parent, something that I kind of saw as something that might happen is, as I've talked about, we have stacks of chairs in the hallways that kids might be tempted. Ooh, indoor jungle gym. Please don't climb on those, and please try to keep them out from that area. That would be a huge help. Certain parts of the building will be blocked off with chairs. Please do not enter those areas. These include the water fountain and the coffee area, and they'll be closed for use. Now, again, the elders have always been kind of light in the area of having drinks in the auditorium. Right now, there's not going to be any coffee made at the building, and there's not going to be any water fountain at the building. But elders have said that if you wish to bring coffee from home, bring it. If you wish to bring an Arctic cup or a Yeti from home with water that you need in case you get thirsty or dry mouth or whatever, bring it. In fact, there's going to be a table at North Mission that's going to have some water bottles on it. In case you want one, take it. Okay, so you can have water there. We're not making coffee, and we're not opening the water fountain. Restrooms will be open and will have been sanitized and disinfected. If needed, a child changing table will be available in the women's restroom. We only have one. If we had 2 changing tables, there would have been one in the guys as well. But the restrooms will be open. Again, feel free to use it. Okay, the disposable communion kits and plastic bags will be available in the foyer. You are asked to pick up a kit as you enter, and after using it during the communion service, return it to the plastic bag to be disposed of as you have the assembly. A trash receptacle will be placed at the back of the trash deposit. Again, we're not doing what we might call the trade communion yet. No, we're still, even at the building, even doing a worship live, we're still going to use those disposable communion kits that you have been getting from North Mission during these last few months. That's what we're going to use, because again, we're going to try to keep, again, germs and whatnot to a minimum, and as few as hands as possible in the preparation of this stuff. So everything's sealed, everything is separate. So a contribution container will be placed at the back of the auditorium in which your offering can be placed as you either enter or leave. If you're familiar with the North Mission foyer, you might have seen the sermon suggestion box, which is just a wooden box with a slat at the top that people can drop paper in. Another box has been made, and that's going to be what we might call the collection box. It's going to be at the somewhere in the back of the foyer. We'll get all that hammered out, but you won't miss it. In case you would like to contribute something to the working of North Mission, there's going to be a box there for you to do it. We're not passing plates. We're not doing anything like that. It's going to be on you if you want to drop that in. There's going to be some people standing around, so nobody's going to run off with the collection box. Don't worry about that. But you can just very casually just walk up, drop something in, and go about your way if that's what you choose to do. But that's going to be available to you. Again, we're not going to be passing a plate during communion for it. To avoid congestion in aisles and back of auditorium at the end of the assembly, please remain seated until you are dismissed by rows, as in a wedding. Please do not cluster in groups in the foyer, and remember to practice social distancing as you exit. Keep your mask on until you're outside the building. Again, we talked about this before. We're trying to do everything we can to help keep people safe. So you're going to be ushered in and shown a place that you can sit that's going to fit your family. But after the final amen, so to speak, we're going to dismiss as family units, just kind of one at a time, probably starting in the back of the auditorium first and then moving up to the front, and just release people. And again, as this said, and just to reiterate, it's not that, we love you, and we hope you know that we love everybody. But please don't hang out in the foyer. If you wish to talk and visit, which I kind of hope you do, hopefully that we've all missed each other. Again, take it outside, take it to the parking lot, take it to the outside area and do it there. We don't want to have tons of people hanging around inside the foyer or the auditorium during this time. And we also don't want everybody to try to rush those doors at the same time, because remember, we're only trying to use one of all those doors that we have at North Mission. So please bear that in mind. Please keep your mask on during the entire time that you are there. And again, this is some of the basics of what the elders have asked of us. And again, I hope and pray that we can submit to these decisions, and that we won't be tempted to try to push this and saying, well, you don't have the right to do this to me, and all that kind of nonsense. It's not the time and place for it. If you are choosing to worship with us live in person on June 28th, we hope that we come with the right hearts, ready to stand and sing with each other, ready to pray with each other, ready to commune with each other, live and in person for the first time since March. And I pray that the reunion of us coming together may be more joyful than the irritations and the limitations that might be placed upon us. Which brings us to another point. In case you already have decided, and I know some people have, to still not come in, but to still stay home and to tune in on North Mission worship service on that Sunday, again, that is your decision. But that's going to be a little different now. Before, in case you don't know, the work of the videos, the worship videos that we've been able to put out over the last few months have been very much the work of Phil and Tim Watkins. And they recorded us, they edited us, they tweaked the volume so that voices were even and came through. Um, the slides were put in for us at specific times. The music was done for us and all that. A lot of wonderful work went into those videos. But all that was done before Sunday morning. And it was done like you might say, kind of like a television show. In other words, pre-edited, stuff put in, stuff made clean so that it can be presented as what it was on Sunday morning. Everything timed out, already done, and there you go. Okay, the decision has been made to not do a video service and a live service. That was kind of kicked around for a little bit. We're not doing that. What we're going to do instead is that the live service will be filmed live. So if you're choosing to stay home, which is fine, you are going to be watching what is going on at North Mission at 10:30 on Sunday morning. Nothing's going to be done beforehand. Everything's going to be done at the building, which means it's probably going to be rougher, which means there's probably going to be more mistakes, which means it'll be like lack of a better term, a live performance where anything can happen. So, but the goal in that is that, again, hopefully we've missed each other. Hopefully we haven't gotten too comfortable with worshiping at home, and that we are looking forward to get back together. The worship videos, very professional looking worship videos, that was not going to be a forever thing. The goal was to always get back to worshiping together at North Mission. This was just made possible because of some very talented people we have in our brotherhood that wanted to help us do something that was more reliable. And I thank them for it. But now we've turned the curve, and it's time to start thinking about how to get back to worshiping together and to remember that we are the Lord's body that is still active and ready to get back to work. Again, we hope to see you on June 28th. If we don't see you on June 28th, we hope that you tune in. And because we know, hey, we're still the North Mission Church of Christ, and we're still seeking to do the Lord's work. And hopefully during this time, some of the lessons we have learned is not to take the Lord's family for granted, to always think about new ways in which we can share the gospel with other people, to know that those things in which we tend to rely on a little too much can be taken away from us, and taken away from us very, very quickly. But whatever you decide on June 28th, we pray that you worship with us in spirit and truth, which is always what we seek that you will do with us. If you have any questions, I hope that you reach out to the elders. Reach out to the elders first. Don't call me first. Reach out to the elders first. That's why they're there. They're our leaders. They're our guides. Trust the decisions that have been made. Trust the guidance. Trust the direction. And let's seek to honor God with our ability to rely on God and to rely on each other during this time. Blessings to you all. We'll see you again soon.